Congratulations, you're another lucky no prize winner. You'll find it enclosed.
Hello again, and welcome to another episode of No Prize Podcast. I am the Professor Bud Young, and with me, as always, from across the pond is Johnny, the Machine Hughes. How are you, Johnny?
Hola, I'm very well. How are you?
I'm perfectly fine. And and we have Lucas with us today. He's a little closer than across the pond. How are you, Lucas?
Hello, what's going on? Hola, hola, para arriba, para adelante. Let's get this thing going.
Hey, I don't know anything that you just said. All right, so we get some books today. I don't know. Hey, do we want to start with kind of the non-book stuff, or do we want to just jump right into the books?
I think
What do you think?
I think let's just go into the book stuff, and then that'll lead us into some of the stuff that's coming later.
And then we can just degenerate into chaos. I get it.
Yep. Give them a reason to stay to the end of the podcast.
All right, so do we want to hit your book first, Lucas, and just kind of get it out of the way, or what do you think?
Yeah, if you want to start with Angry Lucas, yeah, let's freaking get this thing going.
Angry Lucas. We're going to actually we're going to go back in the time vault and pick out last week's Tony Stark Iron Man number 8. And a funny story about this is because Lucas really liked the last storyline of Iron Man and wanted really to review this book, even though it was an off week for us. So we held on to this book, and then he read it.
So
Damn education. Why did I have to read this?
Yeah, I mean, Marvel, you do good sometimes, and then sometimes you just kick me in the teeth, man. So the reason why I really wanted to read this book was the cover art done by Alexander Lozano, is really reminiscent of the Devil in a Bottle, Tony Iron Man Volume 1, issue number 128, which I am really chasing right now for a good, cheap copy. So to give you some context, the original Demon in the Bottle arc is arguably the most famous Iron Man ever written. Spanning from Iron Man number 120 to number 28. It basically goes into part of Tony Stark's alcoholism, right? He's been well known for it. They even splice it up every once in a while through his through the MCU, but that's a part of his character, and I really love that because nobody's perfect, and he's a genius. He can build all this stuff, but guess what? He does have a little problem with the drink. So when they started to bring this up with that cover, I was really excited. However, they just couldn't get it done. I don't know what the heck. So for those who haven't been reading Tony Stark, what they've been doing is they've been doing this whole VR thing where Tony built this whole VR world where everybody could go in and do this whole thing, but something went wrong where everybody's killing everybody in the real world and they don't know it. People are suicide bombing buildings and all this other stuff. Great, fine. I was good with that for the last couple of issues. I think that story arc should have been done. Now let's get into how Tony Stark feels about the ramifications of what he's done and what he's brought around the world. But they didn't do that. They kept going on with the story arc of, hey, things are jacked up because of Tony Stark. But that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for them to get back to the, hey, Tony Stark, he's dealing with his issues and alcoholism. And we didn't get that to the last 3 freaking panels where I guess his father shows up and offers him a drink, and in the last panel, he actually takes the freaking drink. Once again, this is an issue that Marvel has. If you're going to put something on the cover, I expect more than 2 panels on this stuff. I want to see that throughout. I want to be able to freaking deal with it. I want to go into what you guys think about it. But Marvel just didn't get the job done here, and I was really disappointed. Maybe they'll pick it up in the next issue or so, but this was the issue to do it, especially when you had such a great cover here to get it done. But what did you guys think? If you guys did read it, this trash.
Oh no. I read it. I read everything. But so I was a huge fan of Iron Man back in the Demon in a Bottle days, and that moment in his history really kind of formed the character that he was for years and years afterwards. We know that he walked away from being Iron Man, and Jim Rhodes became Iron Man for a while. So this was not really, when you put something like that on the cover, where there are alcoholics out there, probably alcoholics listening to this podcast, maybe even on this podcast.
Yeah.
But when you see a cover like that, and it was a fantastic cover, it was eye-catching. That might be, I think, why you might be so offended by it, Lucas, because it's such an awesome cover.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's not that's not light fare. That's not something that you kind of throw in the last 3 panels of a comic book, especially when it's in like virtual reality drinking, right? So it's not real, and that there's not going to be any kind of lasting repercussion from this book. They used it as part of the storyline, and that was the kind of thing that kind of made me feel like it was just a ploy, maybe at older readers, because the younger readers won't have any idea about the Demon in a Bottle storyline, because even in the movies they never touched on his alcoholism at all.
Right.
But the rest of the story, it's just kind of more of the same. It's been a kind of a long storyline already, right? This has kind of been going on since issue 1, and they really kind of haven't really resolved anything. The controllers are finally out there as the big baddie, and Iron Man's still stuck in virtual reality with his birth mom, and we got Jocasta and Machine Man running around. But the overall, what we expected from this book was maybe kind of a touching on Tony's alcoholism and maybe having him kind of have a relapse. That didn't happen, and now I don't think it's gonna.
Right.
But
that's such a good point that you brought up, that this is happening in the virtual reality world. So technically, it's not even really happening.
Right.
So there's not going to be any ramifications from this. So yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they were trying to do with this, but yeah. Go ahead, man.
Johnny, what did you think?
I've been saying that I've quite liked this Iron Man run for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the whole drinking thing, it is an absolute. I don't know. I don't know if it's bad taste. I don't know if it's false advertising, because we are like a flawed hero. It's virtual reality, so it's not really going to have an impact, as far as we know. I think the main interesting part in the book are Jocasta and Machine Man, which I've been saying for ages. And there's something going on with Jocasta. This book has kind of devolved into a book where I was interested to see where it was, to a book where it's like, has the storyline changed at all? It's very much, for me, I guess, it's not a clobber, because there are some elements in there that I like, the Jocasta stuff. For me, it's an Invisible Woman. It's a meh. I can take it or leave it. If there was the last panels were about the alcoholism and it was in the real world, or Tony's real world, then it would have more resonance. But it isn't. It's a gimmick to entice us older fans into the book to think, oh no, it's going to happen again, and then the whole switcheroo type of thing. Do I feel bad that Lucas got baited into this? Yeah, I feel bad that Lucas got baited into this. For me, it's it is what it is. You know, they're playing with his psyche in a way so they don't affect the media persona of Iron Man just in time. Because what they don't want to do is wreck Tony Stark as a character before Avengers comes out, the movie. So
I agree.
They're giving us a little bit of, ooh, this is what could have happened, you know, in true Marvel ham-fisted style. And that's Spider ham-fisted style, by the way. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. Take it or leave it on me.
I agree with you. It's an Invisible Woman all the way for me. I didn't hate the book. I didn't love the book. It was just kind of, hopefully just a bridge book between 7 and 9 because I liked 7. And I hope I like 9. I just, I mentioned last year I didn't get to meet Dave Michaelini and talk to him about. Well, I think it's Michaelini.
I think it's Michelini because when you have CH, you don't go to how do you say school?
Oh, well, Joe St. Pierre introduced him to me as Dave Michaelini, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe unless Joe's messed up.
What you saying? So you believe Joe over me? It's
Joe,
like that.
Hey, Joe worked with him, so
I'm gonna have words with Joe.
I'm gonna go with Joe. But be able to talk to him about the Demon in a Bottle storyline because I think that was and David's got a huge body of work, but I think Demon in a Bottle is at least top 5, top 2, maybe the number 1 story that I think he ever wrote. It's one of those, I think, defining Marvel moments, not just for Iron Man as a character, but I think for the Marvel universe as a whole, that that at that point in time when they were telling that story, we're telling a lot of human stories, and I don't know if necessarily they tell any human stories anymore.
That's a harsh statement to make. True, but harsh.
All right, so that was my opinion on that one. Lucas, what did you think? Was it a clobber for you?
It was, yes, a clobber dub. If there was something lower than a clobber, I would freaking give it that because it was just, what the heck are you guys doing?
It's highway robbery. Yeah.
Yeah. I want my money back, Marvel. My letter's in the mail. You just put the money in the envelope and send it back to me because this is freaking crap. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, I know I've complained about misleading covers, but this is the worst. You don't play around with a disease.
Yeah.
Alcoholism and disease, you don't play around with that.
It would be like showing Speedy shooting up heroin on a cover and then having him not even be in the book.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that end. Let's jump into our next book. Let's do Captain Marvel number 2, just because Johnny likes Captain Marvel. Oh wait, or do you?
That's harsh. Do I like Captain Marvel? Who doesn't like Captain Marvel? The fact she's had 13 different books over the last whatever time frame that you've got going on. Right. Okay. So Captain Marvel number 2, written by Kelly Thompson. Art by Carmen Carnero, colours by Tamara Bonvillain, which sounds like a cool name, and letters by VC's Clayton Cowles, who's working on Heroes in Crisis also. Okay, so whilst it still bites that this whole origin thing's been changed to accommodate a movie, I've got to say I quite enjoyed this book and the one before it. There are little bits and bobs in there that I don't like. The contrivances, like the reason why X-23 and Badger aren't in, for example, because they say, oh, X-23 lives around here, but no, she's off the island. Really? Okay. I think the writing's a fun Carol that exudes confidence that you've seen in other characters such as Spider-Woman when she was written by Dennis Hopeless and Chelsea Cain's Mockingbird. And given that this is Captain Marvel, those 3 things mean the book will get cancelled within the year.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right on that. But anyway, Go ahead. Please continue.
The things that kind of narked me about the book, I get that Captain Marvel's supposed to be like a strong female character, but to be a strong female character doesn't mean you have to dismiss all the blokes in the book. having one gender stronger than that's not equality. Having one gender stronger than the other, or one gender being played off as doofuses to show how good the other one is, that's not equality. That's not diversity. I thought everyone wanted to be equal on this, but apparently not. And yeah, I get the big bad's supposed to be a doofus. I'm talking about the Avengers, which, by the way, there are so many Avengers in this book, they should get renamed to Avengers New York, you know? Because we're going to talk about the Avengers books later, and guess what? There's no bloody Avengers in there because they're in this one.
Yeah.
The art, I like the art. It has an Alan Davis style, which is never going out of fashion for me. Although I will say this, do you think that Marvel have got a bit of a house style going on with their Avengers books?
I think you're correct. I think that they want their books to look a certain way. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
I think other than that, apart from the ubiquitous 9-panel page that seems to have seeped into every bloody comic book now, yeah, I liked it. It was okay. I'm not going to say it's a flame on, because there are things that I disliked immensely about it. But what I would give it is probably a Mr. Fantastic. Bit of a stretch.
Johnny, the when I first opened this book and I saw the first page, I went, "Uh-oh, there's Johnny's 9-panel page." That's exactly what I said. I said, "There's Johnny's 9-panel page. He's gonna hate that."
I drew
But
well done.
you've trained me well. So Captain Marvel, I've said before, I hate that they reboot this book at least once a year, and it doesn't see it reflects in this because it just seems like it's almost a different character every 6 to 10, 9 months, and you're getting different supporting cast, you're getting different storylines, different. It's like I said, my biggest thing is, and just what I said the last Iron Man book, lasting change, things that affect the character going forward. There's none of that. You know, the what happened in the life of Captain Marvel 2 months ago that we've reviewed, I think, every issue, Johnny. There's nothing about that in here.
Well,
you know,
this is the thing, because I'm going to stick up for Marvel a little bit here. We bitch on about how things never change, and then when they give us a change, like changing the whole origin, we get bent out of shape. So they're kind of damned if they do and damned if they don't, aren't they? In fairness.
Yeah, in fairness,
Well,
you're right.
Yeah, I just want a logical change, right? You know,
Thank you.
if you can't just jar me all of a sudden. There's got to be a logical, like, I can understand that there's a change in technology and that changes the way things are, but when you have a person change the way they are and who they're hanging out with, you can't just do that to me. Give me a logical reason or way that this actually happened. Because, like, I mean, we're reading these every single week, so we should be able to see the changes progressively, right? That's the way I see it. Like a wedding where they all meet up together and then all of a sudden they're doing this, or a party or something like that. Don't just throw these guys together all of a sudden just for the sake of it. And that's, maybe that's just me, and maybe that's just the way I feel about it. But I mean, if you want to do, hey, all of a sudden they have this new technology because so and so invented it and it has to do with the real world, I got that. But character changes all of a sudden are just too jarring for me. That's just me.
I do want to say that I love that they took Hazmat out of Mothballs. She was one of my favorite characters in Avengers Academy. One of the other things now, like, didn't a lot of these characters just show up in the last page of Captain America a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So here's, I guess, my issue with that is, you got Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman's got some cool new facial mask tattoo type thing. She was wearing goggles at the end of Cap, right?
Yeah, but it's kind of explained, isn't it? In the real world, in the comic book real world, she's only been gone for half a day. But in the alternative world where this book takes place, which, by the way, is the same storyline that's going on in Iron Man with his alternative IT world.
25 days. I see it.
Yeah,
I see it.
So it's kind of like it's a little bit different. It's kind of explained in that kind of, no one's got to check the exposition, so they'll get away with it.
25 days in comic book time is more than long enough to have lasting changes for all these characters and how they look different. I get it. So, Okay, so the face. I know that was a little facetious on my part. I'm sorry.
I mean, they're not
Um,
Bishop, for Christ's sakes.
Might as well be 50 years in the future. Yeah, no. So this book, I mean, I kind of like the story. It's just like I said, Kelly Thompson. She's gonna write her story, and then she's gonna move on, and there's gonna be another number one. And I'm just like, I'm done with it because Captain Marvel, I think, is the biggest offender of the reboots. At least the other books, I think they let go on for 20 issues or so before they reboot it. This one, this is not gonna get past issue 10 or 12 before we get another number one.
This book's done by the end of the year.
Yeah, or at least until the end of the story arc, and then they reboot it again.
The only thing that's going to save this book is cinema. That's the only thing.
Yeah. I mean, in the movie looks decent, right? We're a couple of weeks out from the movie. It doesn't look terrible, So.
Talk about the new movie.
Yeah, because it looks like they're going to tie in more like Guardians of the Galaxy type stuff. They're going to tie that further in with the rest of the Marvel universe. So.
I guess I should ask. What are we talking about? Are we talking about the Captain Marvel movie or the Avengers movie?
Oh, Captain Marvel movie.
Okay, so the interesting thing that's been coming out is that the numbers for Captain Marvel are a little bit disappointing already because how they predict numbers by how many people have already bought tickets. And where they were expecting maybe like 120 to 200 million, they're only projected to get like around 80 million right now. And everybody's trying to come up with reasons why, and they think it might be because, well, number one, they're trying to aim this at the feminist crowd. Like, hey, this is supposed to be a feminist movie, whatever that. And I'm not about that. I'm still going to go see the movie, but I'm not about it. And then the other thing was, it just doesn't have that feel like Black Panther, where a lot of people are going to want to see it, just to see a different part of the Marvel universe. And that's one thing. And but the only thing I can say is, most of the Marvel Adventure stories, they only do like 80 to 85 million anyway. Like Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, they don't do more than 80 to 90 mil. Even like even Iron Man, he only did like 94 mil when he started out. So, but from them to, I don't think it's the apocalypse that Captain Marvel is going to be doing only 80 mil because there's a lot of people that outside the comic book world that don't know Captain Marvel, couldn't pick her out of a lineup. So,
do you think people might be getting superhero fatigue? Like people are like they don't like Star Wars anymore. Like no one went to go see Solo.
Well, I mean, when you just say Solo and not say Han Solo, can anybody? My question is, I know this is not answering your question. Is can anybody play Han Solo other than my boy?
Well, I mean.
Nobody can play. I'm not taking the Han Solo from anybody but my boy. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I kind of agree with you there because Harrison Ford is the man. But, someday I want to see someone else play Indiana Jones because I think there's more stories to tell. I don't know if there's necessarily more stories to tell with Han Solo. So, so as far as that goes, I think you might be right. I kind of think that the Solo movie was not terrible. It wasn't as bad as everybody said it was.
I actually really liked it. I really liked it. It was a good movie. Was it something that I think they should have probably did these versus the first 3 episodes, the way they went back and tried to go back in time and all that. They probably should have did these. Because even Rogue One was good. I like Rogue One. It's just that unless you're into that world and you love that world, you're probably not going to go spend your money on a weekend for it.
What I found interesting about Rogue One and Solo, a Star Wars story, is the fact that there's hardly any Jedi in it.
Yep.
Both movies are very much aimed at the everyman style of the universe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right. I think the way that they were trying to go with it worked. You know, and I think for future movies, you kind of had to do that because I think Jedi more than anything would probably really kind of drag it out. But anyway, so getting back to the Captain Marvel thing,
Yeah.
do you think a lot of people might stay away from Captain Marvel because Avengers is coming out within like a month or so? And this is supposed to be like a super prequel, right? Like take place in like 86.
Right.
People are going to be
'Cause
like, it's not part of the story.
I think for people that are outside the industry, they're going to stay away because they just don't know Captain Marvel. For people that are inside the industry, they're going to wait a little bit, um, because we already know how this Infinity War thing is supposed to eventually end or so, right? That's what I want. That's what we want to see. I mean, if you want to go see it just for maybe hints of what's going to happen in Infinity War, got it. But I think people are just really waiting for the Endgame movie, and then the Shazam movie that's coming out. But I don't think people are going to be waiting on bated breath to go see this Cat Marvel movie. There's nothing that makes me really, really, really want to go see a movie other than this is something to do with my kids.
Well, I hope I'm proved wrong because I'm a big fan of all the Marvel movies. I like most of them. So I hope this one's just as good.
Yeah, yeah.
So this Captain Marvel book, I'm gonna say it is kind of a bit of a stretch for me. I didn't love
Likewise.
it. I didn't love it. It was probably, I want to say, better than previous Captain Marvel series, but we are only 2 issues in, so hey, take that how you want. What did
No,
you
I
think,
was-
Lucas? What was it? Okay.
Right. So for me, the first thing that came up for me when they started mentioning the bubble, and this was maybe 2 books after I had read the Amazing Spider-Man. Because in Amazing Spider-Man let's see, what number was it on? Amazing Spider-Man number 15. There's a whole heist thing about blueprints, and the blueprints are for the bubble that kept Captain Marvel out of the whole planet Earth during that whole Captain America Nazi freaking storyline. I forget what it was called. So that's
Secret Empire.
yeah, Secret Empire. So I was wondering if the technology that was used for that was used for this, because he specifically is, and it's Craven is using it. He specifically wants to use this technology for a bubble that's going to go around New York. So that's what I think this was a carry. If Marvel's getting their shit together, that's what he was going to use it for, and he may have hand in hand in this.
Hmm.
So that's why it was interesting that a guy dressed just like freaking Craven, and this guy's name is Machismo. His first appearance was in like Fantastic Four number 15 or some crap like that. No, excuse me, Fantastic Four number 151. And he, for some reason, he's keeping all the guys out of New York City and everything, except for there's one other guy, right? I forget what the guy's name is.
Some.
Sup? Oh yeah.
Some.
Some,
That's
right?
annoying.
So what was interesting to me is the guy's haircut, right? So in New York and in DC, in the areas I live, we have many proud LGBTQIA members. Love you guys. You guys are doing a great job. Do what you do. But this particular character has a haircut just like some of the some of these transgender women or whatever, right? So I'm wondering if that's the deal. If this person, some, is actually like a transgender man, and maybe that's how he actually got in, because maybe he's in actuality, biologically, a woman. The other thing that got me was just as I was reading it, and I saw it was like Thor, Captain America, and She-Hulk. They were standing outside the bubble, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna go take care of this other thing with the vampires or some shit," which is falling over into the Avengers book. And I was wondering, well, if She-Hulk's a woman, what would happen if she actually tried to go in? And then later on, they answer my question, and she decides to go in, but because some of the powers of some of these superheroes are diminished or just gone, she's Raging Hulk going through the bubble, but then she's falling in midair. All of a sudden, her powers cut off, and she turns back to normal. So I think that was pretty good. So a lot of common sense stuff was in here. I'm intrigued by the idea. I'm intrigued by how it's being genuflected throughout the rest of the comics and how some of the stuff is tying in. So for me, this is Flame On, and I can't wait to see the next book.
Mentioning the fact that perhaps there's maybe more mention of continuity in what's going on in other books is a little bit eye-opening for me because I didn't really notice it. But in that case, if they're going to do that, why not put the little asterisk and say, "Go check out Avengers happening now"? I mean, how can it hurt?
True.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, see, the thing was in prior books that I've seen that before, it looks like, oh man, they're actually going to tie something in, but then when you go back, it was something totally different. So maybe they're trying to give the other writers freedom to do that. But right now, I mean, once they started hitting out that hey, Captain America and Thor had to go run off to go take care of some vampires, I was like, oh shit, that's definitely definitely tying in. But I'm a little off because Captain America, he's supposed to be in prison in space or something, isn't he now?
Don't get me started. Do not get me started with the number of different Captain Americas that exist right now.
So yeah, I would definitely rather him be taking care of vampires than off in space in prison. So, but I've already talked about how I feel about that whole deal in the last episode. So it's up to you guys.
Right. Oh, sorry, I got a kick out of that. All right, so we'll put Captain Marvel 2 to bed. That's two stretches and a flame on. So that's pretty good, actually. Let's jump into Avengers No Road Home #1. And Avengers, where have you been? Where have you been? You've been here and No Road Home. This new #1 with it looks like it's another group effort here with this kind of like an Avengers event book. We got Mark Waid, Al Ewing, and Jim Zub, all three of whom wrote all previous incarnations of the Avengers books, Avengers, Ultimates, and I think Mighty Avengers, perhaps. And then we have Paco Medina as the inker, and we have as the penciler rather, and Juan Velasco as the inker on this book. And this book opens up with Hercules, which I automatically love anyway because this is a great mix as they go through the book of introducing old school Avengers, kind of new school type Ultimates with Blue Marvel and Tony Ho. And then you have, hey, Rocket Raccoon, we have a new Avenger in this book. This is amazing to me. We also have the Hulk, and then we have Voyager, who came back from the No Surrender storyline from last year. And I absolutely love this book. And when I say where's the Avengers been, it's because the other Avengers book doesn't feel like the Avengers for me, even though it's got all the main Avengers in that book. How often do they appear in their book? There was a few issues where they weren't even around. There's like a million BC story of Iron Fist, a million BC story of Ghost Rider. They had a Black Panther issue where he's just recruiting nobodies to be kind of like his secret B team, and there's just. So it feels like there's so much going on in that other Avengers book that there's no focus on the actual characters in the Avengers, other than maybe a She-Hulk Thor romance going on.
Right.
But this book really kind of got back down to earth, with Hercules kind of showing up and having Rocket Raccoon with having just normal everyday superhero stuff. I love it. And then so they take their time, they introduce all their characters, and at the end of each character introduction, the lights go out, the sun disappears, night falls, and it's interesting with seeing how they all react to it. I love the Hawkeye Scarlet Witch scene where Scarlet Witch gives Hawkeye a bunch of his old arrows and a vial of the Pym particles from his Goliath days, foreshadowing the hell out of that. And And then you got you're introduced to the Vision again, who hasn't appeared in a while, and not in an Avengers book since No Surrender. But we're reminded that the Vision is quote unquote dying, and that Spectrum and Blue Marvel are trying to figure out why exactly that is. And I liked that they're bringing up stuff that they know they're going to bring up later on. That's going to come back. We're going to figure out what's going on with Vision, and he's one of my favorite Avengers of all time. So I'm glad to see a lot of these characters back in my Avengers books. And then of course we get the Hulk, and we haven't seen the Hulk in a book in a while, other than his own book, where is kind of taking that horror slant. So he's kind of been out of the superhero scene. But to see him appear, and then instantly he has that scene with Hawkeye, which honestly I totally forgot Hawkeye killed him in Civil War II.
Yeah.
And they really touch back on that about Hawkeye saying, "Hey, yeah, no, I settled that with Bruce," and Hulk's like, "Well, you didn't settle it with me."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh," so I was like, "Okay, so maybe that's gonna happen. There's gonna be some stuff going on." I like that they brought back Voyager. I kind of thought that she ended on a bad note. I guess I thought they kicked her out, but now here she is. She's back, and that was another thing that I kind of thought. You have that No Surrender storyline last year, and they introduced this Voyager character that supposedly was a founding member of the Avengers, and they kind of retconned the shit out of that and put her in there. And I thought that was going to be a one and done, totally forgotten at the end of that series, and I like that they brought her back. So when they say lasting repercussions from storylines, this is exactly the kind of stuff that I love to see. Bring back that stuff. Bring back those storylines. Reference everything.
Yeah.
I thought Rocket Raccoon was a perfect addition to the characters they have in this book. And then
you say addition, and that means cash in to some people. You know that, right?
Yeah, that's fine because he's not over in Guardians of the Galaxy. So use him. I'm totally cool with that. And then to have them teleport to Mount Olympus, where we find that the gods have all been slaughtered, and that, I mean, of course, I really don't think they're going to keep Zeus and Hermes and Aphrodite or whoever they are all dead forever. It was a great visual, and it was a great emotional moment for Hercules, and that that he's so emotionally invested in this storyline now, and I can't wait to see what Hercules does. And they introduced I don't know if they've ever introduced Nyx before. Maybe Lucas might know.
So there is some consternation amongst the industry right now, amongst all the speculators. There is a character named Nyx. She was from Doctor Strange Volume 1, number 31, right? However, apparently one of the writers is saying that it's not the same character.
Okay.
So I don't see how that's possible, because the older Nyx, once again, came from the same place, came from Olympia, had family member in Olympia and all that other stuff. So maybe we'll see how that plays in. Like, what is the difference between the two? So as a result, because this had 7 different covers, right? And the one that everybody wanted was, of course, the Adam Hughes, which was a 150. If you want to buy it just outright, it's going from $65 to $70. So if you see it in your local comic book shop, go ahead and pick that bad boy up. Because it's still, even if it's not the first appearance of that NYX character, it's still a great, beautiful cover. It's got Wanda on the cover. And you can't go wrong with picking up anything by Adam Hughes, other than those freaking nasty ass Superman comic books that he's been drawing lately.
Right.
But yeah, freaking. I would say let's keep paying attention to what's going on with this next character. Like, is this a different character, or is this a new character that's been brought to the universe as of now? So.
So I'm gonna flame on the hell out of this book. I loved it. It's everything I want the Avengers to be. Nothing that the current Avengers series is. Flame on. Go pick up the first issue. This is a weekly series, just like No Surrender last year. So I'm sure the story will move fairly quickly. However, just a caveat: these weekly series seem to get out of control and bog down really quick. So, first issue, does not foretell how I'm going to talk about this issue in a few months when the story's over, because we'll be getting weekly doses. Johnny, what did you think?
Um,
I'm waiting for it.
Go on then. What do you think I'm going to say?
For some reason, I think you're going to say that you didn't like it.
What reason would that be?
Well, Rocket Raccoon and the cashing in, that was kind of a bit of a giveaway, but
All right. Okay. So
I'm curious though, because
yeah.
I would like you to tell me why you didn't like it if you didn't like it.
So I didn't. Well, it's a bit of a stretch for me. I'm going with Mr. Fantastic,
Okay.
mainly because for the same reasons why we've stretched and kind of dissed on other Avenger books in the past. If it's got Avengers on the title, you want to see the Avengers. And yes, I know that everybody featured was an Avenger, but that doesn't mean you're going to expect to see Wolverine anytime soon, does it?
Mm.
So there's some good bits in it. I really liked, to be honest, I liked the other Captain Marvel. I liked seeing Monica back for a little bit. That was good.
I agree.
I enjoyed that. You can tell there's three writers in play.
Yep. You can totally tell.
Because it's like Jigsaw, it's piecemeal, which really annoyed me. It's kind of like, hey, let's have a little side stamp. Oh, and then you pull into it. And, oh, let's have a little, and then pull into it. It's like they've kind of, each one's taken like a little corner of their little universe and then put it together and let's see what the picture looks like. Hercules and the Gods, I'm not over that fussed with, primarily because I see it all the time with Wonder Woman. But I am bored with Rocket. I'm going to say it. But I did think the Hulk Clint chat was particularly funny. And that Paco Medina is his art style has suited or been made to suit the Avenger style that we talked about in Captain Marvel. Which is affecting a lot of books, with possibly the exception of Spider-Man and some X-Men books. Because this week's Amazing Spider-Man takes its leaf out of a cartoon show, so dodgy. But no, I haven't got time in my schedule for another weekly book. I think Marvel need to rein it in a little bit. You can't have so many X-Men books coming out as well as this. People are going to choose one way or the other. No one can afford to buy them all. So
I agree with you.
So there. Not the hate that you expected, is it? There you go.
No, I was expecting a little more Venom, but hey, you can get Venom.
Venom's going to be in the Avengers book with Conan, so that's where my Venom's going to go big.
I was just going to segue into that, but with the announcement of Savage Avengers, that there's actually going to be spinning out of this No Road Home story, because apparently we're going to see Conan the Barbarian in this storyline, and then spin out into Savage Avengers, which apparently Conan is going to be an Avenger. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Bullshit.
Enough said.
Yeah. Well, because I'm confused, because there was the other Avenger thing, which was like the Barbarian Avengers that they just had with
the Million-Year BC.
Yeah. So, but he wasn't in that. So, what are we doing here? I don't understand what they're doing here. If they wanted to do that, that would have been the perfect place to put him. But now all of a sudden they're bringing him into this, and they've got different Savage Avengers or Avengers in there. So I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I've been reading the Conan book, and it's not bad. It's okay if you like Conan. It's just that I don't understand why they gotta add him to Avengers. Don't see it.
Yeah, it's cross promotion, cross sell. But you're right. He would have been perfect in the million year BC Avengers. So why not do a story? I mean, they're already doing these one shots and interrupting my friggin' Avengers storylines every 3 months to give me a story about a character I don't give a shit about. So why not just throw Conan in there with them so I can care less about it? You know?
Well, the answer is because they've had to pay money for this license, and
Right.
they might as well, and they need to make money off it. What's the quickest way to make money on a license?
Yeah.
Stick the dude in a your best selling, maybe not best quality book, and see what happens. And that's what's happening. So you can't really diss them for that. They're only doing what they're supposed to do
Yeah.
by making money out of comic books. If they're going to pay stupid amounts of money for a character that was, let's be honest, quite well received by Dark Horse fans, then why you're going to have to do it sooner or later? Bloody Han Solo and Chewbacca are going to be in the X-Men. So
Oh
Here's-
God.
do you see Luke Skywalker as a mutant? I have the power to move things with my mind.
Oh Jesus.
Here's the issue with what Marvel is doing with Conan right now, is that I am a fan from when it first came out during the 80s, right? And there was a certain lasciviousness with the scantily clad women and all this other stuff and the violence and everything. And so far, in the books they've given me so far, they haven't really delivered.
Yeah.
So
well,
if you're
'cause
not gonna-
we
if
want
you're
to
not gonna-
we want to see that, right?
If you're not going to deliver that, why do it at all?
Yeah. You can't be worried about the backlash or what people are going to say, especially about a book like Conan, that's always been more of like a adult, like Frank Frazetta artwork type,
John Buscema was killing it on that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's just nipples everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. Wasn't it you that said a couple episodes ago that it was the first one with nipples?
Yeah.
On the...
Yeah. But no, I'm sure. Yeah, we want to. The Conan. You expect a certain level of skin and sex from Conan, and you just you're not gonna get it from Marvel's Conan. So I'll just say the last time I had Punisher, Elektra, and Venom all in a book, it was called Thunderbolts, and I hate that it's called Avengers. They should just bring back Thunderbolts and put all those characters on that team. I wouldn't care. I would probably like it better. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I flamed on Avengers, Johnny. It was a bit of a stretch, and Lucas.
I flamed on it. It was good. It's a good start. I loved everything. It's giving me a mystery. It's giving me something to look forward to the next issue. I love, just like you, I love the conversation in between Clint and the Hulk. He's saying, "Hey man, I squared that away with David." He said, "Well, he came to you for help, and instead of sending him to a therapist, you shot him in the eye." So.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I'm loving that, and I'm hoping they can keep it up for the next issue because I'm definitely going to spend my money on it. So I'm
all right.
But.
So let's jump. Let's go into the X universe for our final review here today, and let's do Age of X-Man Next Gen, and we have a writer of Ed Brisson, artist Marcus Toe, color artist Jason Keith. Was that?
You always pick the easy ones, don't you?
Well, I almost said Marcus too, but it's Toe. It's Toe, right?
Well, no, it's two because there's no E.
Well,
It's got to be.
all right. Well, Johnny, what did you think about Next Gen?
Oh, we are getting sued by some people.
Yeah.
For a book featuring a bunch of characters that I neither care nor like about, I have got to say I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was class. Yeah, it's the world not as we know it, Jim. And inevitably that new world's going to have problems. I like the fact that Ed Brisson or Bryson, depending on your point of view, has not pressed the reveal button straight away. There's hints in this. There's little teasers of what's going on. I thought it was a really engaging book. Some lovely little foreshadowing, the fan fiction that he wrote. All of it was great. I've got a question though for all you X-Men fans out there. Can you tell me what Beast Boy was doing in this? Isn't he in Titans?
Do you mean Anole?
I don't know. Who's the little green dude that looks like Beast Boy?
Yeah, he's
Beast
one of
Boy.
those.
Yeah, Beast Boy.
He's
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's one of those. He's one of those X-Men that was introduced a few years ago that no one cares about, but they keep using.
Beast Boy. Got it.
Yes.
Okay. The only thing I noticed on some of the dialogue at the start, the twins were speaking French. But then when it comes to them saying this sucks, they put the little "this sucks" and then it says in the little box translated from French. That's all well and good, but if you're gonna try and translate that, why have actual French words in the dialogue 4 panels beforehand? You know, they use French phrases, so it's like you might as well just put like "sacre bleu" in it and just be done with it. I don't know. That might sound a little bit nitpicky, but I kind of think, well, you want to translate the swear word, the cursing, but you don't want to tell everyone what little chicken is in English when they say it in the French word. I don't know. It just didn't sit right, I guess. Yeah, I've got to say I've quite enjoyed the X-Man books, which surprises me a hell of a lot because I didn't expect to. So this one for me is my first Flame On.
Lucas, you go ahead because I don't want to ruin the momentum. Let's go.
Well, I'm gonna end up ruining it for you. I'm sorry, man. It was a bit of a stretch because from the last Age of X-Men book that we read, or whatever the hell we're calling this thing, there were so many questions, right? And they promised us that for every book we picked up, there would be some questions answered. I didn't get that from this book. I just got, hey, Globe Herman, he knows some stuff. That's all I got from this, right? And that's fine for me because I'm actually getting into Globe Herman. He was in like 2 or 3 books this week, I think. Like in Dead Man Logan, and whatever book. So
he's like Mephisto.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely trying to push whatever Globe Herman is selling, and whatever it was enough for me that I actually went ahead and freaking I picked up his first appearance, which was like next X-Men number 17 or something like that, and it's really cheap. So the reason why I'm honing in on this is because, Nate Winters, or whatever his name is called, he's so powerful that he can build a universe and change the minds and influence the minds of everybody except for Globe Herman, right? So in order to counter that type of influence, you got to be at least right under an Omega type mutant. Or maybe he's not, but they're definitely going to try and explain it in the next issue or one of these other issues. But it's definitely got me interested in what's going on. So it didn't really push the narrative any further. It didn't give me what I was looking for. I was looking for more answers to questions, but it wasn't that bad that I'm just going to write off this whole series as a whole. But for me right now, it's just a stretch until I see what else is going on.
Well,
and that's the end of the pod. We'll see you all next time. Thanks very much. See ya.
I'm not gonna clobber this book. This book wasn't terrible. I'm gonna go with Lucas. It was a bit of a stretch. I don't get the appeal of Glob Herman because does he even have a power, or you can just see through his skin? Does anybody know what his powers are?
Well, right now it's been established that he's somewhat indestructible because he can get into scraps and not get hurt. In fact, in whatever the series that we were reading from the last couple of weeks, where he was in that weird alternate universe and he was slamming the crap out of freaking weird creatures and everything, he never got hurt. So we know at least that he's got some type of invulnerability. How far it goes, I'm not sure. But right now, it's being established that these metahumans that have the ability to control minds, doesn't have any influence on them.
So
That's at least two superpowers we know of right now.
well, I believe one of his superpowers is the ability to have his bones not be connected to his torso and his arms and legs still work.
Yeah. Hey.
Wait, am I nitpicking, Johnny?
I'm just waiting. Just you wait. Don't worry. Well, look, we've got an Iron Man book where the alcoholic doesn't have a drink. We've got an Avengers book that has no first tier Avengers in it. We've got a Captain Marvel book that started again for the 19th time. And you complain because a mutant who has special abilities doesn't look like you. What the hell is this coming to?
Okay. Hey, so has Marcus Toe done anything else before as an artist in this book? Because I really liked his art.
Marcus Toe. I'm sure I recognize the name. I'm sure he has done some stuff. If you give me 2 seconds, I will check.
And I thought there were panels that I saw that were reminiscent of Mark Bagley. A couple of, I know. I mean, it's probably, how dare I say that? But
well, Marcus Toe has been working on Aspen books with Fathom Volume 2, number 8. It was a fill-in book. Black Panther 24 through 25. Red Robin 6 through 21, which is where I know him, and 23 through 26 because I've got that whole run. Nightwing numbers 9 through 15. The Flash 10 and 11, and Batwing for a little while. So there you go.
Okay, well, so he's new to Marvel.
Yeah.
Okay. I liked it. Oop.
Huh.
I liked it a lot. So I mean, like I said, I didn't hate this book. I mean, maybe I hate the whole idea of Age of X-Men, but this book was not bad, and I guess I liked Glob Herman.
Hey, say it loud and say it proud.
I liked Glob. He's probably one of the better X-Men they've created in the last 20 years. So anyway, the book's still a bit of a stretch for me. I guess I'm gonna wait to see what issue 2 holds, see if they reveal some secrets. But I do like the fact that they kind of, like you said, like they're not blowing their load in issue 1. So
I say it quite like that.
But that's how you meant it. Just dumbing it down for the audience. So yeah, bit of stretch. So let's get into some of this other stuff. I know Lucas wanted to bring up the Hulu deal with Marvel. So why don't you tell the fans what's up with Hulu?
Okay, so I think it was just this past week they mentioned the fact that they are going to try and do an animation with Howard the Duck, which they do have a movie from like the 80s. I think it was like 1986. And it was probably the most worst rated of all time, right? But here they are. They're going to try and do this animation, which is fine. But they're not just doing Howard the Duck. They're going to try and do, let's see, Tigra and MODOK and I forget which other ones. But they're going to try and combine these. Oh, and Hit Monkey. And they're going to try and combine these guys all into this one thing eventually called the Offenders. So it's going to be sort of like an Avengers group type deal. I don't know how I feel about this. I like Howard the Duck. If they were just going to do Howard the Duck, I could see him doing it because it's going to be done by Kevin Smith, who I love his stuff. He's the director of Clerks. Love his stuff, but the other stuff I don't know why they need to do it. But what did you guys think? Have you guys heard about this?
Well, I heard about it, and we don't have Hulu over here, so I don't care. It's pretty much how it works.
Sorry, Johnny.
Well, it's like this whole, I know I'm going to go on a tangent, but this whole DC Universe bullshit. It's not DC Universe, it's DC USA. No one outside of America can get the bloody thing. Don't stop calling yourself Universe. If you want fans to buy your stupid shows, make it accessible for people, in other countries who buy your books. Just saying. So no, I don't have this hula thing. So I don't give a rat's ass what you put on there. Thanks. Cheers.
Well, I guess I have an opinion since I'm not from across the pond.
Right to me.
Um,
All a matter of perception.
So, I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can get you copies, Johnny. I mean,
no thanks.
You have inroads as part of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes.
I have
the ability to get these shows, these movies, you can see Titans, you can see Doom Patrol. You could probably see Doom Patrol before it's on DC Universe.
To be fair, Titans, I'll come back a little bit. Titans is actually on Netflix UK right now. So.
Oh well, okay.
Right,
so
yeah, because
Young Justice isn't. Where's Young Justice? just saying. All right, carry on with your little thing then.
So yeah, I mean, I read the same story you did, Lucas. Howard the Duck seems to be perfectly, the perfect animation. I think that they could probably really do a tongue-in-cheek kind of satire, which Howard the Duck is supposed to be, and make it work in animation. The other three books, I'm not sure. I don't know where MODOK is coming from, left friggin' field here. I hate that character with a white-hot passion. Right. I can't stand that character at all.
Well, you know what the deal is he's showed up in, I think it was the first issue of the West Coast Avengers.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they were trying to tie them into the whole deal. If they did something like that, I would definitely be interested. But if it's just gonna be MODOK and some other numbnuts, I'm not.
Numbnuts.
Yeah. I don't know. So yeah, So the little blurb here for the MODOK cartoon centers around an egomaniacal supervillain with a really big head and a really little body who struggles to maintain control of his evil organization and his demanding family. So you know what that means is there's going to be a whole bunch of big-headed, little-bodied people running around. And yeah, I don't know.
So it's going to be like what's his name? Crane from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles instead of without the turtles, just the dude, just Craig.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun show.
Well, before we get too hatey on it, there was a one-shot book a couple of years back about the life of a named scientist. I don't know if you saw it, and it was really quite tongue-in-cheek about how he kisses his little family goodbye and all that sort of stuff, and it was really quite tongue-in-cheek, and I can't remember what it was called.
Then he punches in on the evil. Yeah, I remember that book. I can't remember what it was called though.
I'm sure I looked at it for Crusaders. As I've done 905 reviews, I'm not exactly going to flick through them all to find out which one it was. Yes, that many reviews. Keep talking, I'll have a look. Go.
So the Tiger and Dazzler cartoon is, I guess, is going to be handled by Erica Rivenoja and Chelsea Handler. So that's, but we don't have any other news about that cartoon other than that. And then Hit Monkey is the show tells the tale of a wronged Japanese snow monkey mentored by the ghost of an American assassin as he cuts a wide swath through the Tokyo underworld. That sounds like it might be the breakout hit. I don't know about you guys.
Right. So that's what I've seen a lot of other speculators talking about, and there is a mad dash to get some cheap copies. So if you are in your comic book store and they do have a database, go ahead and ask them if they got it on hand, and if they got a cheap copy for you, go ahead and grab that bad boy because I think I've seen the price. I forget. Some copies are going for 20. Some copies are going for 30. Some CGCs are going for $100, whatever. But yeah, I can't tell you that. I can't tell you that it's going to make you a lot of money, but there is some interest for it.
Hmm. Well, I guess we're going to be seeing a lot more Marvel animated, and these, these being on Hulu lets me know that these are going to be more centered towards like maybe an adult type audience than those Saturday morning cartoons that they're doing now with Marvel Rising and all that stuff. So that actually makes me feel pretty good if they're going to have more of an adult slant.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Most
um,
definitely.
so okay, there was one other thing you wanted to bring up, Lucas, was the Rob Liefeld
The
stuff.
Right.
The
So
Mutant
I think
X.
I think it was a couple of episodes ago that you actually talked about Major X, which was a Rob Liefeld creation, right?
Yep.
So the reason that me to take this so serious is that you don't bet against the man who co-created Deadpool and Cable, right?
Well, I don't know
Now,
if that.
I do. The idea of a book coming out on
even though,
time.
even though,
Yes,
even
I will take that bet. That book
yeah,
is not shipping on time. What are the odds?
I mean,
Johnny, stop
people,
Googling.
yeah, people. I mean, people absolutely hate his art. They clown on him because of the whole feet thing, which is kind of weird to me. It's like I don't give a fuck about feet, whatever. If that's your thing, that's your thing. You do you, right?
You know what? That's a fair point. I will. Yeah, who gives a rat's? Jack Kirby couldn't throw balls, right?
Right. Um. So where I'm coming from is the initial thinking was that he was going to be, or his first appearance was going to be a Major X #1, which was supposed to come out in. Looking at the thing now, and excuse me, it's like April or something like that, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like April 3rd, right? However, and there's a cover A which is going to go for like $5, and there's a cover B that's going to be like a 125. So if you were going to do your final order cutoff, which is supposed to be either this week or on the 28th, depending on your retailer, check it out. Ask them what's the final order cutoff for that particular book. Then the cover B 125 is going to be was going to be the book that you were going to need. However, here's the deal. This morning, as of Saturday 1/16, which is when we're recording it, Rob Liefeld very quietly in his Instagram put out a thing where he is selling a Deadpool book, which is going to have the first appearance of Major X, and that's going to be coming out in March 28th. So that's going to be like maybe a full week prior to what previews is currently um, advertising.
Well,
So
let's be clear. He's only appearing on the cover, and the book
right,
is Deadpool #10, and it's a variant cover by Liefeld that Major X is going to be appearing on. He won't exactly be appearing in the book, correct?
right, right. So with that being said, that makes this a first cameo appearance, right? And I know that a lot of speculators they've been trying to move away from the whole a first cameos and try to go for the first full. But guess what? In the last 3 months, there's actually been a trend of people going for his first cameos. For instance, Hulk 181 is the first full appearance of Wolverine, right? But the prices that have actually risen is from actually Hulk 180 because that was his first cameo appearance. So don't overshadow or overlook these first cameo appearances just because. Now be careful because it's a heady gamble because this packet that Rob Liefeld is selling is like $100, right? It's 2 books or whatever. It's $99. It's $100, and it's a big chance that you're going to take um, if you want to buy this thing. So I took a chance. I went ahead and got me a set. It's not sold out yet. You do what you want to do, but I'm definitely getting this pack, and I'm definitely going to get that cover B 1/25 just to hedge my bets on this one.
Johnny, what do you think?
Yeah, each to their own. Each to their own. I don't know. He's he's not my favorite artist at all. It's got nothing to do with his feet. I don't know. It's just I thought we were moving away from the whole speculator market. If loads of people buy that book and it ships for stupid amounts of money, sorry, it ships at a stupid amount of rate. How can speculators make any money on it if there's going to be that many out there in circulation? You know what I'm saying? You can pick up X-Men #1, the Jim Lee Chris Claremont book. Over here, you can pay less than £1 for it.
Well, if you pick me up some of those, I'll send you money for those.
Well, okay, fine. But it's like, honestly, and that's the collector cover, the one that opens up and has all 5 different covers in there. You know,
the trifold cover, or
whatever.
Yeah, well, that would be X-Men the D cover.
Oh, I don't know. I just picked it up because it was less than £1. I was like, ooh, Jim Lee art for less than £1. I'll go for that. Cheers. So, I don't know. If speculating's your thing, fine, go for it. But if you're going to speculate, try and find someone who's just a little bit more consistent than Rob Liefeld. Because if there's anything he's consistent at, it's not completing stuff, shipping late, and leaving people waiting. So, just saying it, just putting it out there.
I agree with you.
I'm still looking for this book, by the way. Can't find it.
I don't know if you're gonna.
Well, you know what? 904 reviews is a lot of reviews to go through.
Yeah. That's maybe you could tweet it out or something once you find it.
Yeah, I will do. I'll have a look.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of No Prize Podcast. I hope you had fun today. We did, and I will. We'll be back in a couple of weeks, and hopefully they won't be putting Conan in any more Marvel books.
Before we go, I'd like to say, what's happened to the Fantastic Four? Is that book still getting done? Because I don't think I've seen one of those for ages.
So the last book that came out was the first part of the Doctor Doom storyline, right?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm asking.
But remember, after the first couple of issues of Fantastic Four, we had like a 2-month wait in between issues. So this could be. Hey, maybe Dan Slott was too busy writing Iron Man. I don't know. So, yeah, I don't. We are a little late on FF, right? Because the thing got married to. Well, that was actually a special, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They had a Fantastic Four special where they got married. That was the last time we saw them.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me because I like that book.
Well, you're welcome. Told you to get my revenge.
All right, so we will see you in 2 more weeks, and make mine Marvel.
Okay.